What's up? It's the one, aka the Kanye West of YouTube, motherfucking genius. And I'm here today with my new series, Picking Up the Crap. This series is dedicated strictly to the NPD monthly release news. I want to keep it away from my Out from the Side of my Neck series and the occasional fanboy videos I do. So each month I'll do this one video that picks up the crap left by the so-called analysts, aka Mike Patcher, I'm a dumb fuck. I'm going over the hardware and software sales for the month. Not caring about if it's up or down from the previous month, just the straight numbers. Give my input on why certain things sold, why certain things didn't sell, and what's going on. And then finally end with a little nice prediction. So let's get down to it. First we have the Nintendo DS, the family of DS's. They sold an amazing over 700,000 systems with the help of the newly released XL, which was on the market for at least 4 days before the NPD was, calculated. Once again, the DS, it does what it do. It prints money. Next, we have the Wii, which rebounds from losing last month to the 360. It comes back selling over 500,000 systems for the month. Actually, 557,000 systems. Again, a huge number in a non-holiday month. The Wii is selling strong, and this is without any new first-party major release. So after only a month, it seems for now Nintendo has fixed their shortage problem they talked about earlier. The Wii, despite what the analysts say, is still going strong and still selling huge numbers. Next, in the number 2 spot for at least home consoles, the 360 comes in as second. So for the past 4 months since December, the 360 has been either first once or second 3 times. Not bad for a system that's a year ahead of everybody. The 360 sold 338,000 systems. And that's not including the possible bundles it sold with their Final Fantasy attachment they had going on earlier. Finally, on the home console front, we have the PS3 coming in at 313,000 systems. About 25,000 less than the 360. Now, I'm going to cut Sony some slack because they stated they've been having a shortage issue and they don't have enough PS3s to meet the demand they have. Well, something needs to change because the PS3 hasn't beat the 360 since October of last year. It's been third place amongst the consoles since November, all the way to now. If you believe the demand is so high for your system, you need to get the systems out there. Sony is a way bigger corporation than Nintendo as a video game console maker, so you know they had the resources to make the consoles needed to sell to the public. So why aren't they doing it? Especially during March when 2 huge games for the PS3 were released. They didn't have the systems there for the demand for those games. So we'll never know if those systems were there, would the PS3 outsold the Wii? Would it made up a 200,000 system gap? We'll never know if the PS3 was there, would it sold the 25,000 more systems to beat the 360? You can believe what you want to believe. I personally saw PS3s on the market at stores during last month, at the stores I visited in my hometown. Sony in the past has pulled this whole there's no PS3s on shelves, they sell like hotcakes. But then Penny Arcade called them out on it with straight facts, and they never responded to it. So now Sony has missed a prime opportunity to turn this whole console war, at least with the 360, around. It's no way it's going to beat the 360 the month Halo Reach drops. Also, later this year when you have Natal and Project Move come out, they're all fighting over whatever's left of the motion control market that we haven't taken over. The only other game they have that would generate sales, system sales, is Gran Turismo 5, and that's missing in action. So Sony, really messed up not supplying the systems needed for the month of March. They really could have done something, built some momentum, change the game. The overall hardware sales ends with the PSP and the PS2, both selling a moderate over 100,000 systems. The PSP, it's just trying to get money, as much money as it possibly can, at least in the US. In Japan, the PSP is a dominant platform. In the US, it's an afterthought. And the PS2 is still staying around. It's still kicking it after all these years, which is a good thing for the system itself, but a bad thing for Sony. Sony wants those people to buy PS3s, but instead they're buying PS2s. So, despite everything Sony is trying to tell us about the value of the PS3, the great games it has that can only be done on the PS3, people are still saying we'd rather play games on the PS2. Despite how good God of War 3 is on the PS3, people would rather buy a PS2 and play God of War 1 and 2. So that's hardware. So now it's software sales. And let me say this right now. God of War 3 is PS3's Mario, Halo. Not to the same level, but it's still, that's the game that sells that system, or at least moves that system. It bested the Game of the Year, Uncharted 2 by almost 600,000 systems. Okay, so yeah, Uncharted 2 is a great game, but it's not no God of War. It doesn't have the hype. It doesn't have that I must have it feel that God of War brings to PS3. So on a single system, God of War 3 sells 1 million copies in the month of March. Next, you have Nintendo games, of course. Pokemon always sells huge. But the RPG fan has spoken. Well, at least the Final Fantasy fan has spoken. Final Fantasy is a PS3 game. Despite it being on the Xbox, also, the PS3 version of Final Fantasy 13 sold almost double, 2 to 1, compared to the Xbox version in the month of March. Yeah, I've heard rumors about the 360 version being inferior, and yeah, it was on multiple discs. But despite that, people who love Final Fantasy want to play it on the PS3. If the 360 has any kind of say in this console war, I still say it is the dominant experience action gamer platform. When a third-party game comes out, it seems like it sells more on the 360 in the first month. Maybe not overall, but in that first initial month, their gamers go out and buy those games. And that's proven once again with Battlefield Bad Company 2 selling over 820,000 copies on the 360, but on the PS3 only selling 451,000. The top 10, of course, has the New Super Mario Bros. Wii still trucking along. Wii Fit Plus still trucking along. And finally, the only baseball game currently out there on the market, MLB 10 for the PS3, selling a nice 349,000 copies. The rest of the top 20 games, it's the same old stuff. You have Just Dance still kicking it for all the new gamers who love that stuff. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is still kicking on both platforms, showing that a first-person shooter can have a evergreen effect. Nintendo DS games, Mario DS, Mario Kart DS still kicking it. Mario Kart Wii is still selling big. God of War collection on the PS3 is doing pretty well. And the same for Heavy Rain. One thing that's not in the top 20 is a new release for the Wii, Red Steel 2. This is an exclusive game that received advertisement backing from Ubisoft. And it's received great reviews. So, it should have sold pretty well. Well, in its first 12 days on the market, it's only pushed 50,000 copies sold, which is not great for a game this style. These games sell make their money in the initial first month. The problem is the market for this type of game is actually pretty small. Wii gamers who are probably going to get it, probably pirate it. The new audience that we has is just not interested in that game or has been persuaded to get the game. And finally, your multi-platform system owners, your Wii 60 PS Wii fans. Instead of buying this Wii game, they bought some of the new 360 PS3 releases, leaving this game out to dry. This is the one. Hope you enjoyed this first episode. See you next month. Peace.